Welcome back.
Welcome in. Ballon Drunks episode 2. So this isn't a topical episode, or we will have some news and updates at the end, but the main event today is we are going through our favorite 11 players of all time. Could
All
be
time.
retired, could be current. Um, we tried to make a formation with the team, like a team you could actually roster.
Yeah.
So we made a lineup. I got a little creative with mine. I think we're going to give a little flexibility on that. But I'm excited to roll out the teams. And I
It's
already
gonna be
posed this
fun.
question to you before we got on. I was wondering, I was trying to figure out how many Italians you had on your team. I
We'll
think the
put the
over,
over under number.
yeah,
Where where are you putting it at?
I would put it at 5.5. I think that's
Oh man, we're going over that.
a.
We are going over. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm really curious. I mean, I think you know what my team's gonna be based off of that comment, but I'm really excited to see what your team is. I'm sure you got some ones that'll surprise me. So it's gonna be a fun exercise we go through.
Well, before I go through it, so I just want to let you know I have one Italian player in my starting lineup.
What? What?
One Italian player. Yeah, so my team's going to be a little
Oh
different
my
than yours,
god.
but I have some Italians in my reserve. So our reserve is
Okay.
basically just a dump of all the other players that we like that just didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah.
So let's start at the back in goal and go back to front. How about that? I'll let you
Yeah,
go
well,
first.
yeah, real quick, before we jump in, I just want to do our kickoff drinks.
Oh, what was I thinking? Yeah, I was too excited to see your team.
Yeah, before we dive in head first, just our start of the show drinks. So, looking back at Pick'ems, we've got a drink for Austin,
This
tied
is
for last place.
this is why I wanted to skip this part.
Yeah, that's why you forgot about it. And then also in fantasy,
The double whammy for me.
double whammy. Prop bets, however, we both won our picks. You had Leeds at Wolves with the victory. I had Leicester on the road at Brentford with the tie.
Big win
So
for
a drink
Leeds.
each.
Huge win.
hmm Yeah, and they pretty dominating too. Great game to watch.
It was a
One of
really
the best
exciting
games of
game,
the
yeah.
weekend. And then since our last episode 10 days ago, I was counting both Premier League here and FA Cup. We had 4 red cards, 2 Premier League, 2 FA Cup, since our last episode. So a quick 4 nips right there.
All right, 4 nips for that. I'll drink my four after you start with your goalie and lay it out.
All
Go
right.
for it.
So first off the list for me, off the board, starting at the back, pretty obvious choice. If anybody that knows me knows who I like in soccer, it's the one and only Gianluigi Buffon in goal. The Italian masterclass at goal for well over 20 years. A couple stats here for you. So I want to do a little trivia for you on this one. Um, so obviously he's been playing forever, still technically playing. Do you think so? Okay, so first off the stat, he has the ninth most matches ever of all time. So this is counting international club play, various levels, whether or not you're at the top of the league or, a lower league, whatever. But ninth most all time. Do you think that number is over 900, 1,000, or 1,100 matches played?
I hate this question already. Um, I'm gonna go over 900.
Yeah,
Okay, drink for me.
over 1,100 matches played.
Wow, that's crazy.
Ninth all time.
Are there
Yeah,
any
so
other?
there's
Are you looking at the full list by chance?
yeah, I have the full list here. Yeah.
Are there any other active players on there?
Active players. There is true okay, that guy's not really active. There is one, There's one player that's still active ahead of him.
Is it a field player?
It is a field player.
I don't know. I don't want to guess like 10 guys, but I mean, Messi,
It's a well-known
Ronaldo,
guy.
Messi, Ronaldo come to
Yeah,
mind, but I don't know
it's
which one.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo? Yeah,
Yeah,
I go with him.
Messi's still behind him, but he's on the list. Messi's at, I think, what's it? He's at 20th all time,
Yeah.
so slightly behind him.
So Gigi Buffon is your goalie. If I had to, that was the safest bet to be on your team.
If you had to guess across borders
There
on
wasn't
my
even a
team,
second choice, I think, for you.
yeah,
All right, so
yeah, I
my
did. That was first name off the list onto the team sheet. Buffon.
and he's arguably the best goalie ever.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I'll
gonna
argue with
have their
people all day about that.
opinions.
I'll argue all day about that with people.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. We don't have time for you to argue that.
All
Um,
right, so what do you got in goal?
so my favorite, not best, but my favorite hometown hero, I gotta go with Tim Howard. Freaking
Oh, yeah,
love Tim Howard. He's such a
I like
legend.
that.
Even though I think he is an incredibly boring pundit. Oh yeah, that's an American drink. Cheers,
That's a
everybody.
drink.
He's on NBC. Does a lot of the commentary stuff. He's a pundit. I actually think
Yeah.
he says a lot of great things. I like his takes, but he's just so boring. I just want to
Hmm.
I want to give him like a double shot espresso or something. I just
A
feel
little bit
like,
more.
yeah, I just feel like, dude, you're on television. Like,
I
spice it up a
I
little
I
bit.
will say I know I will say I feel like he's improved though over the last couple years. I agree with you entirely, but I also felt like he kind of just like said what was, obviously there to be said in the past. And I feel like he's spiced it up a little bit. I still think his delivery is a little tame, but I'll give him props for improving.
But on the field, he was a stud. Uh, Obviously, played for the U.S., played for Man United, played for Everton. Uh, just a class goalie his whole career. Really good guy. And uh, when we were not as good as we are now at the international level, which wasn't that long ago, he kept us in so many games. So
Hmm.
many games. I can't remember that team we played where he had like 13 saves, something stupid.
Belgium,
Yeah.
Belgium.
Oh my gosh. That game alone, just Google that and look that up on YouTube. That was the most incredible goalie performance I've ever seen. And he single handedly kept us in that.
Yeah,
So,
it was. It's still. Yep. It is and still is the record for most saves in a World Cup game. 16
unbelievable.
saves.
Oh, 16. Wow.
16
That's a good trivia
saves.
question. I should have dropped that on you. I'll get you on the next one. But yeah, he's my goalie. Love Tim
All
Howard.
right. Do you
Uh,
have any backup goalies on the bench, or you just went all field players?
I went all field players. If I had to
Yeah.
pick one, it would be Schmeichel for sure.
Ooh, all right.
The son,
OG,
not
OG or
not his
or
dad.
or new G.
Nuji,
Okay.
Nuji Schmeichel.
All
Big
right. Shout
fan.
out Casper.
He's so good. Um, all right, so let me run it back. Well, let's alternate. So now I'll go my center back. I got a back three
Oh, okay.
because I needed
Yep.
to
So I guess
move
real
some
quick.
things
I guess
around.
real quick. Yeah, yeah, real quick then. So what default formation are you working with here?
I'm like a 3-5-2, um,
Okay.
but with the defensive midfielder playing in front of my defenders. So more like a maybe a 3-1-4-2.
It's like a diamond at the back
Yeah,
type. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. I went with a real traditional like 4-4-2, but probably with like a bit of a diamond in the middle. So interesting how we stacked it up. All right. What is your center back?
Speaking of stacking it up, my center back, also an American, Tim Ream. Tim
Oh,
Ream, I'm drinking to
shout
you.
out.
Tim Ream was
God,
not my
I love him.
favorite before this World Cup, but
Yeah.
I have never felt confident in any defensive player, team, setup at any point watching U.S. international soccer until this year.
Hmm.
It was like finally we have someone competent back there. We have someone who knows what they're doing.
It's
It was such a relief.
class.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He was class, and it was such a relief. And he brought me so much joy this World Cup that he is now
Hmm.
my favorite central back ever. So Tim
Hell
Ream, I
yeah.
love you.
First
Thank
off,
you.
the first field player off the board.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Tim Ream, I was going to bring this up last time just because I agree with you. I love him. Didn't make my team. Maybe should be on my team, but didn't make the team. But I saw this story that came out. So you know how before the games, the players before the the whatever the when the teams walk out, they usually walk out with the little kids that are mascots, right? Dressed up in their uniforms.
Hmm.
So he came out with some girl that I don't know has some sort of epilepsy or sensory disorder where she like has to wear headphones and she felt like super self-conscious about it. So he found a pair of headphones, kind of like what you're wearing, to walk out on the field with her so that she would feel like more comfortable. I was like, this guy is awesome. This guy is just here's the picture if you can see it.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, so awesome. He walked out on the field with her just
Oh,
to make
that's
her feel
so
as comfortable
cool.
as she could. Such a good story, such a good guy. Perfect captain for America. I wish he could play 10 more years, but
Dude, nice
I
pull
guess we
on
got to
that
be happy with what
story
we
out of
get.
nowhere. You did not know what player I was gonna pull
I
up
know
there.
you
So way to go, dude. That was right on it. Killing it.
you stirred some memories that I forgot last time, so thanks for that. All right, my turn at center back. So I went with a traditional 4-4-2 like I was talking about. So I got two, call it two, more traditional center backs. However, one of my two center backs also played wing back, but he could play both. My first off the board is the one and only Paolo Maldini, who is also going to be my captain of this team.
Oh, okay.
An early captain pick.
Now to
Uh,
specify, captain pick meaning he's your favorite. Is that how we're specifying captain?
no, it's who I think would be captain.
Okay.
Um, if these players were actually assembled, who would actually be the right personality, the right respect level, just kind of the right person to be the
Hmm.
captain
And
on the
he's
team because there's
definitely
many
the right pick for
personalities on this
that.
team, including the guy I already mentioned, Buffon, that could be captain.
Hmm.
But I think he's the right all around pick there. But I mean, I've loved this guy forever. Absolute legend, holds the record for most appearances for AC Milan. Played I forget what it is, but something like 21 years, I think 22 years. Was at one point the all-time leader for Italian appearances. He got passed by Buffon and one other guy, um, but just all around a total beast. Confident on the ball, was a great defender, but also silky smooth with the ball. Could play more attacking. Probably could have played much more attacking roles, if he really wanted to, and would have been great at it. But just a great player, and just the way he carried himself on the field, the confidence. It's like it was almost like the defensive version of Zidane, like that smooth silkiness, with the ball and positioning and fighting guys. Um, just no one else really ever did it like him. So I was just always a fan from day one. I could always watch, highlights and video of him. So he's my first defender off the board.
Great pick. Great pick. And I got I got a quote. I remember a quote from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Someone asked him who the best defender he ever played was, and he said Maldini. Maldini. So
Hell yeah.
awesome pick. Who's
I do
your?
have a stat here for you.
Okay.
I forgot I wrote this down for him. So he's actually the oldest Champions League winner ever. So when he won in I think '07, he was 30, I think he was 37, 38, something like that. And he also scored the year before. He's the oldest goal scorer in the Champions League final ever. So two records that he holds that may hold for a really long time, unless Modric comes through this year.
Good hold off on that one.
That was a tough one.
Oh man! So we made a new drinking rule coming off of last episode that if you burp on the mic, you get penalized with two more drinks, which could snowball. But Torin just ate a burp. It looked like it hurt him a little bit, but
It
it
didn't
was
come
it
out.
was successful. If you want to watch his face, head over to YouTube. You can check it out.
Number two.
There you go. All right, crack number two. Why
All
don't you
right.
give us your second center back?
So alongside Maldini, I have another legendary Italian. So this guy actually is one of the two people that passed Maldini for all-time appearances for Italy. It's Fabio Cannavaro, one of, I believe, only three defenders ever to win the Ballon d'Or. Uh, and just an absolute stud in the '06 World Cup. Probably the first World Cup that I really paid attention to and really watched. I watched highlights before, but the first one I was really invested in and really watched, I would say most of it. He left such a big impression on me. I was like, that is how you play defense. Obviously, the Italian team as a whole, won the World Cup, but he was the captain. He was the leader. Um, just a clinic on how to play defense. It's a shame that his career was like a little bit staggered beyond Maldini's. As Maldini was winding down, he was coming up. So it's a shame they couldn't have played more together. But regardless, I mean, it's kind of the same story we had with Maldini, just pure class at the back, exactly the way defense is supposed to be played. And I'll never forget it. I mean, he's always going to be one of the best I ever saw play defense.
Yeah, that was a great pick. Yeah, he was fundamental in that World Cup championship. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my right back. My right back. You're gonna like this one because he played in Serie
Well,
A.
you need another center back, right?
No, I'm doing three at the back, so it's like Reams in the
Oh,
center,
I get it.
and
I
then
get
I
it.
got my
Okay,
right
you're
back.
right center back.
Yeah, I'll do my
Okay.
right, and then I'll do the left. So on the right, I got Javier Zanetti,
Oh yeah,
an Inter staple. He
we have our
also,
first match of the day.
you got him too. Okay, yeah. So
Right
he
back,
he played pretty much his entire career at Inter for almost 20 years. He played forever.
captain from 2001 to 2014.
Crazy. I think he has over some, I don't know the exact number, but definitely over 800 matches played, which is
Yeah, something like
insane
that.
for a
Hmm.
field player. Um, he was just, I like my defenders. Nowadays, it's a little different. There's not a lot of these guys, but I like my defenders who are strong and defend first, but then have the skill to go forward, not the other way around. And
Hmm.
he was so strong. He could he was so versatile. He could basically do anything you needed, whether it would be defend, go forward, tackle, chase somebody down. He had the speed, he had the strength to hold people off. He was just such a versatile defender, and I really admired how he played and how he carried himself. And I feel like he's criminally underrated just because he's not flashy. He's just
Hmm.
He's just good at
Solid.
everything. Like if you had a
Yeah.
report card of his skills, it would just be A across the board, but maybe no A pluses. And I just loved
Hmm.
how he played. Um,
Oh, same. I mean, echoing everything you're saying. Obviously, he's in my right back position. He also had that look about him, like just like that what you were just describing him as, like solid, just consistent. He would look like the way he sort of carried his posture on the field and everything was just like the same from the first second to like the 120th minute. It was like this guy is a rock. Like he's not gonna give up an inch the whole game. He was just a true leader. He was one of those guys I was struggling with on who would really be the captain here.
he
I
could
mean,
easily be
he's a
one.
true captain.
Mm-hmm.
He's a true captain. He's a leader. He's solid, and just the longevity I think is just what added to it. That brought him over the top to make my list.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we got one match. That's our first match. I have a feeling we might have one more because I haven't named my Italian player yet, but we'll
Okay.
see. We'll see later. Okay, on my left
I have a
side,
feeling. I
on,
have a feeling I know who it
on
is.
my left side on defense, this is my first current player.
Oh.
Current player Andy Robertson
Oh, okay.
plays at Liverpool. I have
Mm-hmm.
loved watching him play since he arrived at Liverpool. Do you remember what team he was on before that?
He was on Hull.
Very nice. That was my
Yeah.
trivia question, so I'm not going to drink for that one, but you're on it. Well done. But yeah, when he first got there, it was like Trent Alexander Arnold was getting all like the English press are all over English players more than they should be
Mm-hmm.
to begin with. But he was the one getting all because he's more flashy. He's got he's really
He's
good
got more skill. More
at
free
crossing
kicks
the
and stuff.
ball. Yeah, the free kick. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely
Yeah.
got. Well, I would argue, but against it. But he was getting all the attention. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
Robertson's better than him. He's better than him. And I think now, I think this is the first season where people are actually on board with that, and because they
Mm-hmm.
realize how bad a defender Alexander Arnold is,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and Robertson's not. He's a great defender, but yet he still has the speed to go by anybody. He can still go forward, put in a good cross, and
He's
he
got that. Yeah.
he is just he is such a difficult player to handle coming down the left side. And what I love about him is he'll make that run all the way up and then he'll hustle his ass off to get back and get in position on
Mm-hmm.
defense. It's crazy. He can run for days and I just love his attitude. He's got a little bit of fuck you in him, which I really like. He gets in people's faces, and
Yeah.
yeah, he is one of two current players I have on my favorite 11.
All right. Yeah, I like the pick. Yeah, I know there's his style is just it's fun to watch. He's like it's exciting, flashing up and down the field. He's tough to stay in front of. Um, you got one more point to add there?
I forgot my trivia question for him. I did have a
Oh,
trivia question
all
for
right.
him, so get ready. So he is the captain of the Scottish national team.
Okay.
Can you name two other players on the team with him?
Armstrong on Southampton. Um, Scottish. What's his name? Billy Gilmore.
You got it. I'm already drinking. I knew you were going to get one more.
Trying
Yeah, I thought you were going to go Scott
to think of.
McTominay. That would have been my first guess. Or my first. I
Is he?
always. Yeah, he's
Is he?
Scottish.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, it was one other story I was going to say about Robertson. So I was watching some like Liverpool training videos or something where they like show their practices and stuff, and it was hilarious because so obviously we watch him in games, right? He's great. Like you said, he's probably shown to be actually more consistent and potentially better than Alexander Arnold. But it was like I think there was like 5 or 6 different players. Oh shit, caught it. 5 or 6 different players on Liverpool that all said he's like the absolute worst player in practice. Like when they do like they call them rondos, right? When they do a little like keep away drills,
Yeah.
they're like he is the absolute worst. But then when it comes to the game, he's like the best. Like so he's one of those guys that's just like a gamer. Like he doesn't have it all the time, but when he turns it on, he has it. And it was just hilarious because like they asked these guys like all individually. It was like Salah and like Firmino and Van Dyke. It was like all these different guys, and they're like, who's the worst guy out here? And they're all like Robinson. It was just funny. And then but then what you see in the game is just him at 100%, and it's really good. So
It's
he's
that
one of those guys that just doesn't
competitiveness.
switch.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
competitiveness is what makes him great. So yeah. All right. So who's on your left side?
So my left side, I'm hoping this list isn't becoming a best all time, but I mean, the first name that popped in my head is Roberto Carlos. Um, Obviously, like I said, not trying to make this just, oh, this guy's better than this guy, but he was probably the first left back, not counting Maldini. I shipped him over to center back, but the first left back that comes to mind, the first one that I really remember, from from growing up as a kid. First one that I really sort of idolized, and he was the first guy I remember being like, because I feel like as a kid, you're like, oh, I could be a pro soccer player, or like da 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 da. And I remember seeing like a picture of him and like his legs, and that was the first time. I don't remember what age I was, but I think it was the first time I was like, holy shit, this guy is not like me. Like professional soccer players, and just professional athletes in general, right, are like this. They're just like a different species, even from us, athletically. And I remember seeing this picture, like his quads or something, like a still frame in a game. And I was like, that was the first time I was like, okay, this guy is different. This guy is built different. And he is a boss. And you could see it on the field. Just so much power. Probably like the most pure power player that's going to be on my list. Just strength, speed, power in all facets of the game. And I loved it. So stuck with me since I was a kid.
Yeah, no, it's a great pick. And one of the best free kicks you'll ever see from so
Deep.
far out, people don't even attempt those shots. And yet, he not only attempted it, but he hit it perfectly. Curved it
Mm-hmm.
around the 2-man
Right on the
wall, right off the inside of the post and
side of the
in.
post. Yeah.
Probably never got higher than 10 feet off the ground at its apex and was just rocketed. Unbelievable.
So
Yeah, great pick. Um, okay, so I guess I'll go next. I'm going to go with my central defensive midfielder.
okay.
My first African player, a Ghanaian international, Michael Essien.
Oh
I love
wow.
Michael Essien.
That's a surprise. First surprise of the day.
First surprise, I mean, he's a stud. He is an absolute stud. I love his
Mm-hmm.
game. He played at Chelsea. He played at Lyon. Uh, he won the Premier League with Chelsea twice. He won the Champions League in 2012. Two-time French champ with Lyon. He's just such a solid player, and I feel like he is a perfect central defensive midfielder, to where he
Mm-hmm.
kind of just does it all. I feel like you said, okay, I hope this isn't like a best 11 all time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
think I wouldn't argue he's the best defensive midfielder of all time, but I just loved how he played the position. And I loved I feel like he had the ability to go forward if he wanted to. He's also got a
Yeah, he could
great
score.
highlight tape. But
He could score. Yeah.
That Chelsea team he was on, I feel like he really shined on a team of stars. And
Yeah.
I really loved watching him play.
Yeah, good pick. I like the surprise. I mean, obviously a player I know, one that didn't even, to be honest, like pop into my head in this exercise. So it was exciting to hear somebody I didn't even think about. But yeah, I remember seeing some of his highlights. I think it's a solid pick. I think also more so than my team, a pick that would actually like work on building a good team. you know, I don't really have a true defensive midfielder in my team, so for my pick, I had to find a place to put him. He's not really a defensive midfielder, but I put Pirlo in that position, um, just because of everyone else I have to fit into the squad. So they would probably, to be honest, not really play a diamond, but probably some sort of flat four across the midfield.
He kind of played that
But yeah,
position towards the end,
he
though.
he did, but he wasn't really a defender. He would play deep like that,
Yeah,
but he had coverage from like someone like Marquisio or someone with him.
right.
Um, but yeah, so a little bit different approach. But yeah, Pirlo for me. I think he's the one that also made it on your team.
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Okay, got
Yeah, so
it.
you go ahead, and then I'll just,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say about him. Obviously, one of the two icons, mascots of our podcast. We love these guys since the very beginning. Once again, one of these guys, kind of a theme, just sort of like pure class. Those are the guys that stand out to me. Maybe not the most, flashy at times, but the guys that were like smooth, confident, silky, composed, um, playmakers, good from start to finish, long careers. Those are the guys that I really like, that really stick out to me. And he's just kind of the epitome of that. He is the guy on my list, looking at my team for sure from start to finish. If you were to play, say you're playing a game and it's like go into extra time, headed to penalties, you can be guaranteed of everyone on, at least on my team, he's the guy that's gonna get to that, whatever 118th minute and still look like a GQ model when he looks over at the sideline. Just the perfect hair,
Great hair.
sweat
All time
glistening.
great hair.
just just like he could be in like the most intense combat and just still look like a Calvin Klein model. Just
So
another
calm.
feather in his cap.
Yeah, so
And also, just a little shout out here. The only guy on my list of very famous and legendary players, he has one award that nobody else has on this list, at least that I know of. He is an MLS All Star in 2016.
Oh man, that's a drink there. Oh man. Yeah, so you're right, is on my list. I
Okay.
thought about putting him at the defensive mid, but I was like, you know what? I think he's more center, whatever. So I put him in my center mid.
Hmm.
And yeah, don't want to repeat everything you said, but he was just calm, cool, collected at all times, always made the right play. I think we both like players that are good team players. And he had great free kicks. He could cross it from anywhere, he could shoot it from anywhere. Uh, One of my favorite memories of him was the Euros against England, his penalty shootout, and he goes up there to kick it, and Joe Hart is the goalie, and he's smiling at the players, he's jumping up and down, acting like a clown, and just getting like super amped up and like laughing and Pirlo is just blank face, serious, puts the ball down, Panenka's in, chips it right over him, and just like walks back like it was nothing. And Joe Hart just looked like such a clown.
Oh, that's great.
It was priceless. So
Oh,
Pirlo, you're the man. We love you.
you are the man.
Yeah.
The man.
All right. So who else is in your midfield?
Um, well, if we stick with center midfield, why don't we do that next? So I have, two center midfielders. So one Pirlo, the other one that kind of unseated Pirlo to put him in the back is Zidane. Probably looking at my list, yeah, I mean he's the best player on this team. He one of the greatest of all time. He would be the best player on this team of really, really great legendary players that I assembled here. Once again, a lot of the same superlatives that we would have for Pirlo: silky, smooth, controlled,
But I would add. So
unreal
let
skill.
me just jump in real quick on you
Okay,
because he's my other central midfielder. So we can do
hell
this
yeah.
one together.
Okay, all right, all right.
I feel like Pirlo and Zidane are like the reason we're friends and have like the same outlook on soccer because they're just the best. And
Yeah,
for as amazing as Pirlo is, Zidane was better. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and I've never seen not just a
Easy.
midfielder but a player play like him before or since. I
He
he had
comes off
like
to me as the most, yeah, the most naturally talented player. I feel like I just
indescribable
feel like it
style
was just,
and
yeah.
control and vision. Yeah, he was unbelievable. He would surprise you out of nowhere just by like trapping the ball or something
He
like
would
that.
surprise literally the best players in the world, and some of the best players ever. You know, were surprised by him. Um, yeah, just unreal. I mean, he's. I actually have a quote here from another absolutely legendary player. So I think it was before the '06 World Cup. He had retired from international soccer. They were struggling to qualify, so they said, "Hey, can you come out of retirement? We need you." I think they also brought back, I think, like I don't know, like Turam and Gallus or somebody too, whoever. But anyway, he came back, and Thierry Henry, who was still on the team, had a quote where he said, "God exists, and He has returned to the France team."
Yeah,
Like literally, Henry, who is the greatest Premier League player of all time, and probably on people's top five, top 10 lists of all time potentially,
and he
thinks
helped
he is God.
because he
Just
was.
he was.
And yeah, so he came out of retirement, pushed France all the way through till he got to Italy, and then he headbutt Materazzi in extra time, and that's his last international appearance.
Yeah,
So it's sad that he went out like that, but I mean, he's a Ballon d'Or winner from in '98. He's a World Cup champion, also '98. Um,
I think they won the Euros in 2000, was
they
it?
won the
So
Euros in 2000. He's won the Champions League. He's won Serie
Champions
A.
League,
He's won La Liga. He's just the best. He's the best.
he did it all.
In my opinion,
Yeah,
he's the best all time.
both feet,
Oh, he could do anything.
even yeah, even more so than any other player on this list. I mean, he's the most skilled. Yeah, so
Highlights of him,
obviously we love him.
highlights of him are second to none. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I think it was about a month or two ago. You sent me a highlight video of him, and I think I watched it 3 times in a row. It
I
was,
think it was like 4 to 6 minutes. I can't remember exactly, but
yeah,
there were no goals scored. It was no goals. It
yeah.
was it was purely
It
just
was,
like like the middle of the field, controlling,
yeah.
turning, dribbling, passing, like no goals, and it was the most riveting 5 minutes. And I had watched it a long time. He was just
Oh my
class,
god.
man. I wish there's another Zidane out there. Maybe he's like 10 years
Yeah.
old now that will come along and blow our
I
minds.
hope so, man. Yeah, he really is like. There's no way that really plays like he did. So and just an added bonus for him, he's been a great manager post career too.
He's had
I
a
mean,
great managerial career.
he kind of just does everything well. So
Yeah.
he's a great
Actually,
guy to look up to.
I'm going to correct my statement. I don't think there's going to be any kid who's going to be Zidane. He's just
Yeah.
a one of one. No one will ever be like him. And yeah,
Hmm.
he's awesome.
Love him.
Okay, so we have the two center midfielders that are the same. So let me run
Hmm.
through my team real quick. I got Ream at the back. I got Tim Howard at goal, Ream at the back, Zanetti on the right, Robertson on the left, and then Michael Essien, my central defensive midfielder, and then Pirlo and Zidane in front of him in the mid.
Okay, so you got your 3 centers there. Okay, so my team, I've got Buffon in the back, Roberto Carlos out on left. I got Maldini and Cannavaro in the middle. Zanetti also out on the right, like you do, and then I have Pirlo sitting a little bit deeper than Zidane at attacking midfield.
Okay, so here's where I got a little creative with my formation a little bit because this isn't really his position, but my right midfielder is Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, he's a little out of position, but I had to get him in there because he is by far my favorite active player. Uh,
yeah,
I feel like all the superlatives we said about Zidane, uh, De Bruyne has vision like nobody. He has passing like I've
passing.
never seen.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the dribbling that Zidane had. His free kicks are probably better, but it's kind of a different game nowadays, so I don't really want to compare those two. But
Hmm.
his passing and vision and anticipation, and I think he is faster than he looks, but he's so efficient in his stride and he's not flashy at all, so he's not going to do any step overs or anything like that. He just does
Hmm.
whatever needs to get done to get the play to work. And
Hmm.
he single handedly can alter a team's performance because if you take him off the field, all of a sudden there's no way to create. There's not no way to create, but he
Hmm.
creates so many chances for his teammates, and he makes his teammates so
Yeah.
much better just being on the field. And I feel like he's special in a way that
Hmm.
a lot of world class talents are not.
Yeah.
If
So
that makes
he made
sense.
my bench. He didn't make my starters, but I had place for him on my bench. I love him too. I just tagging on to what you said. I think we were talking about the creation, right? Where he really thrives more so than maybe any other player we've ever seen is the long ball creation. So many guys can create on sort of the give and goes, passing from just in front of the final line, but I don't know if I've ever seen a better player when they're trying to pass across 2 lines, right? Or across the field, or a long driven ball that goes like around a outside back, whatever it is like that. He's maybe the best we've ever seen that does those types of plays. And like you were saying, he just kind of plays with like ruthless efficiency. Like there's times when he doesn't seem flashy, but you can just tell he's the best player on the field. It was the other week. I think we talked about it last week. The announcer was talking about it, how there was a game where the Champions League game where Haaland scored 5 goals, and they're like, this feels weird to say, but the guy that scored 5 goals was not the best player on the field.
No,
It was Kevin De Bruyne. He's just that important, that crucial, that influential
he's
in entire games. Being that he plays in midfield, like he really does control games, and it's so exciting to watch. Anytime I turn on the TV and I see that he's on the bench for whatever reason, I instantly 15 to 20% of my interest level drops. Even though this team is full of stars, he's playing with some of the best players ever, some of the best current players right now. It's just he is a joy to watch when he's on the field.
in my opinion, he's the best player in the world. Um, I know many people will not agree, but in my opinion, he is right now. And he hasn't had the success at the club level. He's had a ton of success, um, but he hasn't won UEFA yet. I know that's probably bugging at him. And then Belgium finished third, I believe, 2 World Cups ago. I think that was their chance that year
Mm-hmm.
when they had
Yeah,
Hazard and Lukaku still there, but I think that was their
that was
chance. He's
yeah, that
probably
was
got
their
one
golden.
more shot, and the team's not bad, so he might have a shot at the next World Cup, but I don't think they'll be the favorite. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But he's one. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's my favorite player right now for sure.
yeah, he's great. One of my favorite to watch right now. Agreed. All right, so at my right back, I don't have any current players in my starting 11, so that gives you a hint right there. But another guy that I talk about a lot, and I kind of idolize almost on the same level as the two icons for this show, is the one and only Clarence Seedorf. Um,
Yes,
he can play out on the right, and he did for a lot of his career. He can also play in the middle. He's one of those guys that you just put him on the field, and he's going to be a a benefit to your team. Um, I just love
he's
it.
my
What's
first guy off the bench, by the way.
okay? Okay, nice. All right. We can still be friends. The it's I feel like I'm just repeating myself here, but once again, so many of the same adjectives to describe him: just silky, smooth, controlled, vision, of confidence. He really could like dictate pace of games a lot like Pirlo could, right? He could hold the ball or he could speed it up. He could be so deceptive within like 2 square feet. He could find a way to shake free of somebody, just make the right play all the time. Once again, played a long career, um, played at the top level till the end. Like he was playing as good as he'd ever played, near the end of his career. A lot like these other guys we were talking about. So just another one of those guys that just was a living, walking legend while we still got to watch him play, and kind of rode it out to the very end at the top level.
Yeah, great pick. Yeah, he almost cracked my starting lineup, but I had to put De Bruyne over him. I really like De Bruyne, so he just edged
Yeah,
him
we kind
out.
of did a little flip flop there.
Just
Yeah.
edged him out. But yeah, so I don't want to get repetitive, uh, but I totally agree with everything that you said. And he also had those Roberto Carlos thighs too. You can,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
he did.
Um, so another player, he's my captain, uh, is on the left mid, played around the same time period as Seedorf, and that's Pavel Nedved. He is my favorite player of all time. He's a badass. Also, world class hair. Early in his career, it was shorter, but then he just let it grow out, and it got better and better. He looked like
Let that shit bang.
he looked like Patrick Swayze out there, just letting those locks flow. He could. It's kind of a theme with my whole midfield. Really, is I like players that can play with their left foot or their right foot.
Both feet. Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
De Bruyne, Zidane, Nedved, you'd be like, wait, is he left footed?
Pirlo.
Did
Yep.
you just see that?
Exactly.
And yeah, he played so hard, so competitive. He could do it all. He just did whatever it took to win. He was an incredible player. He what I have it here. So he was 4-time Czech Player of the Year. He Ballon d'Or winner in '03. A lot of people don't
Oh,
know
three,
that.
yeah.
Ballon d'Or
Mm-hmm.
winner, 3-time Serie A champion, 2 with Juve, 1 with Lazio. Uh, but I think what sums him up the best is when Juve got that match scandal ban and were sent down to Serie B. They lost a few players that were like, "Oh, we're out of here," um, and Nedved stayed, and he was famously quoted as saying, "Players are leaving, men are staying." And it's just like, dude, yes, I just want to like that's my dude. Like, I just at
I
that it
love it.
just sums up like, and that's how he played too. He played with that same
Hmm.
mentality, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
He was the man. So he's my captain. He's my all-time favorite. And I got a couple of trivia questions for you about my midfield here. So let's see how
Okay,
you
so
do.
just before you say that, just to confirm, obviously, also my pick at left mid as
Oh, you
well.
put him in
Nedved.
yours. Oh, I didn't think he was going
Oh,
to crack your
100%.
list. Okay. So we
Oh,
shared the love.
100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, then you might know this answer, but I thought this was interesting because I didn't until I relooked this up and I was like, oh, that's right. So that team that got relegated to Serie B, that Juve team,
Yeah. Hmm.
do you know who the coach of the team was?
Shit. What year was that?
Mm. Early
Oh
2000s.
six,
I don't know off the
oh
top of my head.
five. Mm. Was it Capello?
No. I'll give you one more guess. This is a current international team coach.
Hmm. Mancini?
Good guess, but no. It
Okay.
is the
Who is
French national coach Didier Deschamps.
Deschamps?
Yeah, he was
No
the coach of
way. I
that
didn't know
team.
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't know that
He
either.
crossed my mind, but I was like, that's too early for him to be coaching after playing. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, he was the coach there. All right, another one. Who has more goals in their career, Kevin De Bruyne or Zidane?
Ow. That's a tough one. Zidane.
No, Kevin De Bruyne
What?
has 139. Zidane only had 125. And De Bruyne's assist numbers are way up.
I know. I
So
was like,
proud,
well, I know he hasn't beat on assists, but
right? His numbers are crazy. But you also got to realize the game has accelerated offense more so
yeah,
now than it was back then. So it's difficult to compare the eras,
the defenses were so much rougher back then. People were getting hacked. It was, I mean, kind of the
especially
same as like basketball and football, everything else, right? It's just like offense first now.
yeah, it's very finesse. Finesse is a
Oh.
negative word. It's more uh, they give the offense more freedom to be athletic, fast, quick, and there's
Hmm.
less contact. Also, the Italian league back in the day was a defensive juggernaut.
Yeah, he's playing against people like Maldini,
Yeah, exactly.
Cannavaro,
Oh
straight
man.
up. So
So yeah, so that's my midfield. I got Nedved on the left, Zidane and Pirlo in the middle, Sen my defensive mid, and on the right side Kevin De Bruyne.
okay, I like it. So my midfield, I've got Nedved out on the left, Pirlo, Zidane in the middle, and Seedorf out right.
Nice. Okay, so I have two up top. You have two up top as well.
Two up top. Yep.
Okay, I have one obvious one. I'm gonna do the obvious one first, and then I'm gonna do one that I think will surprise you. So I'm gonna finish with that one. But
All
up
right.
top, my number 9, Ronaldo. OG Ronaldo. Not Cristiano. Brazilian Ronaldo. In case anyone was wondering. World Cup champion.
Teaser. The other Ronaldo may appear on our soon
Oh.
to come least
Oh.
favorite list.
Oh, I like that teaser. Hey now. So He's two-time World Cup champ, 94 and 02, Ballon d'Or winner, 97 and 02, two-time Ballon d'Or winner. Uh, in that 02 World Cup, he was a scoring leader. He, in my opinion, was the best forward of all time.
Yeah.
I think that it's fair if you want to talk about, hey, well, he didn't play as long as like Cristiano did or Messi did. Like those guys played way longer. Say, yeah, but at his peak, he was better than anybody, in my opinion. He had the
Hmm.
strength, the speed, and he just knew how to finish. And the king of the
Hmm.
step over, the king of the step over. He would step over 2-3 times until the defender bit. He would even step over
Yeah.
goalies. I loved it. He would always do that, like step over, just dribble by the goalie, and the goalie would go down. He was incredible,
And it
man.
wasn't it wasn't even the step over. It was that first touch after the step over that's never been replicated. It was just step over, and
Yeah,
he's like 5 feet that way
he's gone. He's
instantly.
gone.
Yeah.
He was so strong too.
Wild.
Like he would just muscle people off the ball. He had a good feel for players around him where he would body one guy, like shield him off, and then explode past another dude at the same time.
Hmm.
Stop and go speed. He was the most impressive offensive player I've ever seen, and instant favorite.
Yeah, he was really good. Obviously, unfortunately, you talked about kind of maybe the longevity wasn't quite there, but some unfortunate injuries with the knee. But a true, I would say, success story, like coming off of a really bad knee injury, he was able to still come back to maybe not as high of heights, but really, really great player still.
Yeah, he was
So
fat and
I mean,
overweight, and he was still balling.
we're comparing him to some of the greatest players ever. So he's definitely part of that group, Even if you say, maybe you say somebody else is better than him, he deserves to be in that conversation. He actually doesn't make my team or bench. He just didn't sort of pop into my head as like a favorite, but definitely would be on my list if we were talking about our best of all time. I mean, he's up there.
Yeah,
Agreed.
with all
So,
the goat talk out there, oh Messi's goat, no
hmm
Cristiano's goat. It's like Cristiano, I don't think is close to Ronaldo. Cristiano's fantastic, in my
yeah.
opinion. Ronaldo is better, and I
Hmm.
don't like I said, I don't take longevity into the conversation as much. I like to think of people when they were at their
Yeah.
best. When they were at their best, how good were they? And
Well,
he
yeah,
was better than
and
anybody.
this is a sport where people play different positions and different styles. So it's like you can think this guy's the best because what he did for his teams in the position he played was more important or more skilled or better than what this guy does on the teams he played in the positions he plays with the style he plays. Like they weren't the same player. Yes, Ronaldo scored more goals. Maybe he has more quote unquote technical skill or better at free kicks, whatever it is, right? But you have a totally valid opinion that you think he was a better player, more impactful, better in the position he played and the style he played for the teams he played for than maybe somebody else.
Definitely, I like
But
the
I
word
think that could be
impactful.
argued. I think that could be argued all day and night. But I think that's a valid argument.
And it's
So
one of those things like if he played nowadays, maybe he's back in 6 months from that knee injury, and it doesn't set his career
yeah,
back like it did back in the day. So like those that's why you can't really
okay. And
compare.
imagine him where Haaland is right now.
Oh
Imagine
my
him on that
god,
team,
Haaland's a good.
right?
Haaland is kind of similar in the sense he's way taller, but he's
Yeah.
similar in a sense of he has the strength and speed package that Ronaldo
Hmm.
have, and not a lot of
And
players
kind of
have
the
that.
fear he inflicts on people. It's like he's just whether or not physically imposing, like maybe Haaland is, just mentally imposing that
Yeah.
you're going against him. Kind of the same there.
Hmm.
All right, so my first forward off the list, once again, same theme of
I know one of them.
no,
I know one of them.
one of them, no active players.
This
So
guy's Italian.
yeah, so my first off the list is Del Piero, uh, legendary forward, Juventus, Team Italy. Um, he is. I think yeah, he is the first jersey I ever got. Was a Del Piero, first soccer jersey I ever owned. I went on a trip to Italy, I think in '05 or '06. Yeah, I think it was before the World Cup in '06 I went. And I picked up a Del Piero jersey. I loved him. He was a great at free kicks, great attacker. Um, just kind of maybe a little bit more so than these other guys. Felt like he like enjoyed playing. Like he kind of showed like excitement and exuberance on the field more so than some of these more stoic guys like Zidane or like Pirlo, you know.
Passion.
Yeah, he really showed like that he loved it. He showed that it could be fun. It always stuck with me. And obviously on a team full of Italian players, he was the first one I ever got a jersey for. That tells you a lot right there. That he how impactful he was to me. Um, it was great to see him score a goal in the semifinal in the World Cup '06. That was awesome against Germany in Germany. Um, yeah, that was probably his, crowning moment, I would say. But yeah, overall, just one of my favorite players and somebody I'll never forget. I still have that jersey in the drawer.
I like that you really like Del Piero because I feel like he's kind of the forgotten Italian. Is that just me,
Yeah.
or I feel like
No, I agree 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of like the George Harrison of the Beatles type.
Because he was really good. I mean, and I feel like, to be honest, the same thing happens to a few of the Italians that never left. I feel like it just kind of happens, you know? Like a lot of these guys stay there forever, and obviously they're as famous as you could be in Italy, but it's different than some of these other players that go to the absolute biggest teams, like a Liverpool or a Real Madrid, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Yeah, he was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, great pick. Ooh, had to stop myself
All
there for
right,
a second. One
you
last
caught it. All
player.
right, so I'll go first, and then you hit
Okay.
me with your second forward. So another Italian. This is probably the one you thought you knew.
Yeah, no, I did know.
Is is the legend himself, Totti.
Yes. Love Tati. He didn't make my team,
Oh,
but he is
I
definitely on my
know.
bench.
Where is it?
All right, while you pull up what
Trying to
you're
find.
pulling up, I will say that I was in Rome a year
That was
ago,
the, I found it. I
and
found it.
I bought my son his first jersey. It doesn't fit him yet. It'll fit him when he's a 4T, um, but it is a Roma Tati jersey, and it's sick. And he's gonna look styling. Fucking love Tati.
I love it.
All right, what'd you
Yeah,
pull up?
great pick out. But so I was just trying to find this quote that I love about it. But just to talk a little bit about him first, just another one of these sort of like Roman soldiers. A true just warrior. Played his career at Roma. Played, I don't know, 22 years, something ridiculous. He's up there on all-time appearances as well, as we were talking about some of these other guys like Maldini and Buffon. He's up there. Just forever loyal, just a true captain on a team. Another one of these guys that would be battling for the captain spot. But my favorite quote ever about this guy, a quote from him: "I cheated on all my girlfriends with each other, but I never cheated on Roma, and I never will."
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
He's the
Oh
best.
man, fantastic! He is a god in Rome.
He is.
That you can find his jersey anywhere. This little stands. Oh man,
Yeah, still,
still,
what I think he retired, what, 14 or something. I forget when he finally hung him up, but
he's the number one jersey around the city, hands down.
guarantee, yeah, go there now, you'll still see him as the legend he is.
All
So,
right, so your team is complete. Why don't you read through your team?
all right, so my team front to or back to front, we got Buffon in goal, we got Roberto Carlos at left back, we got Cannavaro and Maldini at center back, Javier Zanetti out right, we got Nedved at left mid, Pirlo and Zidane in the middle, Clarence Seedorf out right, and then up top we've got the two Italians, Totti and Del Piero, scoring the goals.
Nice. Yeah, if you haven't figured out by now, Torrent's Italian.
No, come on. That's only one, two, three, four, five, six Italians on my 11.
Oh man, it's so good. So my team, back to front, is Tim Howard in goal, Ream in the back, Robertson and Zanetti on either side. My midfield of Essien, Pirlo, Zidane in the middle, Nedved and De Bruyne on the outside, Ronaldo up top, and then his counterpart, last on my team, but certainly not least, Dennis
Drum
Bergkamp.
roll. Bergkamp.
Dennis Bergkamp,
Wow.
three-time English champ with Arsenal, two-time UEFA champ. Here's the trivia question for you: can you name the two teams he won the Champions League with? Here's a hint:
Bergkamp.
94 and 92. If you get this,
Ajax.
I will finish my beer.
Ajax.
That's one, which is a great feat, by the way. Ajax winning.
Mm-hmm.
This next one is tough.
You said 92 and 94?
Mm-hmm.
God, what team was he on then? That was before he was on Arsenal, right?
Correct. Because
Um,
this was before I was introduced to him at Arsenal, so I didn't get to see him play on this team. I was too young.
fuck. God damn it, I should know this. I think I knew it at one time. Oh, was it um did he play on Real Madrid?
Is that your answer?
Real Ma- Real Madrid.
No, it's not Real
Fuck.
Madrid.
Okay.
Inter.
Damn it, that was it. Okay.
Inter. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah, with
realize
like the
that.
purple and black. That's right. Okay.
So Dennis Bergkamp is one of my favorite players, simply because he was the first guy, like my first introduction to English soccer and watching the Premier League. This is probably the very beginning of it when he was at Arsenal, and he was one of those guys that just looked different than everybody else. He stood out in a sea of great players, and he just had such a unique way of dribbling, body position, doing anything. He just was
Hmm.
so smooth, kind of like a lot of the guys that we talked about, and he was
Yeah.
just such a class player. Um, and he was kind of the beginning of my soccer fandom. So
Hmm.
I had to put him on the list.
Another guy a little bit like Ronaldo that just knew how to finish, it feels like, right? He knew how to put the ball in the net.
Mm-hmm.
It could look sometimes it could look amazing, sometimes it could look simple as hell, but he just was kind of a scorer. He was just that type of player.
Such a good finisher. And I have a quote here from Ian Wright, who is a commentator now, Arsenal legend. He said, Dennis is the best player I've ever played with as a partner. It was a dream for a striker to have him in the team with you. Because he passed as well as he scored. And he was fantastic. And when Henri got there, when it was young Henri, it was insane. Thunder and lightning, those two
Yeah.
guys. And
Yeah.
it was really, really fun to watch. So he rounds out my
Yeah, quote.
squad.
Well, yeah, just to add to that, so you had a quote from Ian Wright, one of the strikers you play with. I have a quote here from Thierry Henry as well. He said,
Okay.
I have always said Dennis Bergkamp will remain the best partner I ever had. He is a dream for a striker.
That's the same quote, basically.
Yeah. But that's out of Thierry Henry's
Different
mouth.
player, same quote. That's amazing. Because he was fantastic. So, kids out there, YouTube Dennis Bergkamp. He was a
Be
stud.
more like Dennis.
He was a stud. Dutch international, by the way.
Dennis the Menace.
Um,
Yep.
okay, so I did my captaincy, Nedved, out of my favorite, not like who should captain the team, but like my
Yeah.
favorite. If you had to captain a favorite, could you do
Ooh.
it?
Oh man, that's tough. Well, if the captain was the best player, I would say Zidane. If the captain was my favorite, it'd probably be Pirlo, I think. Um,
There's no wrong answers.
yeah, let's go Pirlo. I would go Pirlo. I think
He's
he
definitely my
just
number
kind of
two.
just embodied everything, and yeah, I like the idea of the captain being more like in the midfield and not like just a true defender. So I would go Pirlo.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire through my bench. We mentioned a few already, so I'll skip those guys. Um, but my and this isn't positional. This is just the guys that were close but didn't quite
Just
make the list, but they need to be
guys
mentioned.
that made the bench. All
All
right.
right, here we go. Dimitri Payet,
All right.
Sergio Aguero, Dimitar Berbatov, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Clarence Seedorf, we mentioned, Sadio Mane, Hatem Ben Arfa, Diego Forlan,
Oh, yeah.
Yaya Toure, and Musa Dembele.
Hell yeah. I love it. Great
With
call
a
outs.
with a with one last honorable mention to Adel Taarabt. The
Oh, yes.
streets won't
Nice.
forget.
I love it. Um, yeah, great name. So I'll read through mine and we can talk through any of the ones that stick out. So I had De Bruyne on the bench. Obviously, we talked about that already. I have Paul Scholes.
Mm.
I absolutely loved as one of like the least athletic guys that was the best player ever. Just the one of the best ballers of the ball I've ever seen. Mario Balotelli,
Oh wow, great one.
absolute legend. Chiellini,
How many more Italian players are we gonna go?
stalwart on the bench. I have okay, sorry, I'll keep going. I've got Conte in midfield.
Another
I
Italian.
no, Conte the French.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought Antonio Conte. Okay, okay.
No. Uh, I also have Musa Dembele. I do have another Italian here. I have Nesta. I don't know if you ever watch
Ooh,
highlights of Nesta,
he
but
was.
he's probably the third best or fourth best Italian defender ever. And he should have been in that '06 World Cup, but he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he is also a legend at defense. And then last but not least, a guy that I've shouted out pretty regularly to you in the past is Guti
Oh yeah,
on Real Madrid. One of the just epitomes of one of the stories of just the epitome of a player that had all the talent in the world and just never put in the time and effort to be as good as he could have been, but so awesome when he was on, so smooth, so creative, so slick. So love those guys.
that's awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, did any stick out to you? I went through mine pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, on your end, read them to me again real quick. I'll tell you what sticks out.
Diego Forlan, Ben Arfa, Sadio Mane, Seedorf, Ibrahimovic, Berbatov, Sergio Aguero, Dimitri Payet, Yaya Toure, Musa Dembele, and then Adel Taarabt.
Obviously, Tarap was a legend at QPR. Berbatov sticks out to me. I forgot about him when I was doing this, dude. Just
Berbatov
like
is
that fool
criminally
would like,
underrated, man.
oh, he was so, oh, I loved it.
He's one of
Just
the
his
best forwards of
attitude.
all time, and I don't think I've ever seen him run at full speed. Like the dude
Never.
was like walking or jogging 90% of the time.
Yeah, well, he couldn't because he was smoking like a pack a day on the sideline, I guess.
But
So
he
I
had
don't know
such
how
a
he was
good
even out
touch.
there.
Such a good
Yeah,
touch.
he would score a hat trick on you and go smoke two Marlboros like when he's going to get subbed off just like that.
He definitely is
Um,
on brand for the show. I feel like he would be a great hang and would
oh yeah,
definitely have a beer with us.
oh 100%. He'd shotgun one or two. Yeah, Berbatov, great call out. My favorite on my list, I think, is Scholes or Balotelli. Um,
Like the two
those
most
guys are like,
opposite people ever.
I know, seriously. We had to get a little wild on the bench here.
I know.
Uh, I have a few honorable mentions. I think you threw one out there. I forget who it was, but
Taarabt.
a Tarapt. Yeah. So I have a few here. So I have Vincent Company, who I
Okay.
always loved, is like just a solid leader in the back. Aguero made my honorable mention list. Thierry Henry, and then I have Gattuso as
Oh
an
yeah.
honorable
I was
mention.
expecting him to be on your reserves. Yeah.
He was there for a bit, but he got bumped off. And then John Arne Risa with
Oh,
the fucking
wow.
bullet of a left
Great
foot
left
free
foot.
kicks. Oh,
Great
I
left foot.
loved it.
Fulham,
I
dude.
loved
Oh,
it.
man. What
I
a
loved
pull.
it.
What a pull by you.
Had to pull
Damn.
that one out.
That's a great one.
Oh. All right. Did you do any pondering on a potential coach or coaching staff for this
Oh,
squad?
yes. I did select a coach. And my coach was the main thing driving my coach pick was if you can win the English Premier League with Leicester, you deserve
Mm.
to be the coach of any team on the planet. And so my team fits that bill. So my manager is Claudio Ranieri. What a stud.
Oh, I love it. What a pullout. So I'll just take it from there because I chose coaching staff. So I actually chose three coaches, and he is one of the three on the
Oh, nice.
staff.
Let's go.
We got Ranieri. Ranieri is one of the three coaches. I didn't really think through. I think I know which one would be the head coach, but he would. So Ranieri would be one of the assistant coaches. My other assistant coach would be Conte. There's your Conte shout out.
Hey, now.
As a coach, not a player. And then I've always really liked Ancelotti. I think he just on the sideline is just no demeanor, just always just stoic.
He's got a lot of success, too.
Yeah, I mean he went like I love it. That's why he comes. That's why he sticks to mind. I feel like he would be the coach out of the three, but somehow I would have that team assembled. I feel like they cover all gambits. You have Conte, the like just wild like pure emotion
Yeah.
just like fire everyone up to play. You have the Ranieri who's like heartfelt, like I feel like he's like connects with the players the most and is kind of like I have your back type guy. And then you have Ancelotti who's just kind of like the stoic like leader like tactician. So I feel like those three together would just be like the ultimate coaching
I
staff.
love how
It would
much
just
thought you
be
put into the coaching staff. This is amazing. Well
it
done
would
by
be
you.
great. I would love to
Well
see
done
this
by
team.
you.
I want to see this happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, those are our squads then. Nice.
All right.
And up next, we will do our least favorite 11, which I'm honestly more excited about.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one to talk
I
through.
have a feeling we're going to have, okay, over under 4.5 players we have the same.
I think over.
You
I
think
think
we'll
there's a
have
lot of players we.
most of the same?
I
Yeah, I
mean,
think so
maybe
too.
maybe slightly over 5 or 6. I'm thinking. I
I
have a
got to
feeling
be.
we'll have a
It was hard for
decent
me.
amount.
It was hard for me. I thought it would be easy to come up with the least favorite 11, but it was hard to fill a roster. There were like five automatics that I was like, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then it was a little difficult for me to think
Hmm.
through that. So we'll do that
Yeah, and then
next week.
yeah, and I actually had speaking on that, I kind of laid out a few names that just popped in my head, and then I actually went back and actually changed a few because of more recent opinion bias, I would say.
I
So
know.
yeah, it'll be interesting
I
to go
know. I
through.
already know one
It's
you're talking about. I left him on my
Yep,
list.
yep. Okay. Still a work in progress though, so we're working on that one.
I'm
Hopefully we
glad
get it
he's
out.
made progress, but he hasn't gotten
Get
off
it
my
out to you
team yet.
guys
He
too.
hasn't gotten off my team yet.
We need more seasons out of you. Come on.
Oh man.
All right.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I got some news I'll share with you, and then we can kind of call it there. No Premier League games this weekend, so no picks to go through or anything. But did you catch any of the FA Cup over the last week or so?
No, I did not.
You did not. Okay, so this one might be a little bit tough to talk through, but Fulham faced off against Man U, and there was a handball review red card penalty kick that was given against Willian. And after the review and the red card and everything, Mitrovic went up and like shoved the ref, like arguing with him, and got his own red card. And then their coach argued and got a red card. Anyway, they turned around and ended up losing that game. Whoa. Caught it. Um, I was curious. You didn't actually get to see it, but the handball itself. I was curious to get your opinion on that.
All right, I'm pulling
So
it
it's
up
one of
now.
those where it wasn't his arm was still kind of by his side. He was coming back towards the near post. It was an obvious handball, like it hit his hand. Um, but it wasn't like he like stuck his arm out super far. It was still like kind of tucked a little bit towards his side. Everyone was talking like it was the most obvious handball ever. Um, but to me, it was like a little bit more borderline than I thought people were talking about it. So yeah, I was curious to hear what you thought about that one. But yeah, big. I mean, big for them because I think red cards in the FA Cup count in the Premier League because
What?
they're the
They
same,
do?
right? Because they're the same. It's like the same body, right? The same. Like the FA runs the Premier League as well, right?
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that shouldn't matter because
Yes,
they're
Mr.
different
Sancho, Mr. Sancho,
competitions.
people that go beyond. Oh, the
Yeah, it carries
defender
over
is
to
going
the
to
Premier League
score,
because they're
but
both run by the
William,
same
he clears the
organization.
Wait, did it
So
touch his hand?
basically now,
Did it
Willian
touch
and
his
Mitrovic and their coach got
hand?
red cards,
I
which is
mean,
huge for the
yeah,
Premier
looks
League now
like that to me.
after that game.
Yeah. Yes, Mr.
So after watching the replay, it's tough, but in my opinion, it has to be a penalty. It has to be a red card
Hmm.
because you're stopping a goal with
Okay.
your hand. I don't think it was his intention to be like, oh, punch, but like it.
It just kind of
It was
got in the
so
way.
fast. It was so fast, but it was. Yeah, it's just kind of how the rule is now, and it's tough. But I don't think it was he intentionally was like hand of God punching the ball. You know?
Yeah, this kind of happened. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that one. Yeah, I think it was just, I think I would tend to agree with what you said. I think you have to call it a penalty kick. And because of it stopped a goal, you have to call it a red card.
Right.
But I feel like everyone was just like, oh, look at that. It was so obvious. He did it on purpose. And it was just like, I don't know. Like that was a pretty good job of covering it up, I would
I
say.
don't think he
It
did on
wasn't
purpose. I
like,
don't think he had the thought of like, oh, I
it
gotta
wasn't like,
stop this. Let me stick my hand out. It
yeah.
was just like he was
Hmm.
sprinting back trying to get anything in front of it, and his
Yeah.
hand wasn't even like extended. It was like,
Yeah. It was kind of like hooked around. Yeah.
yeah, it
So
wasn't.
anyway,
I
I
don't
was,
think, yeah, it wasn't egregious, but I, I think it
yeah,
had to
but
be
big
called.
news for big news for the Premier League though. So they'll be out. You know, I don't know how many games Mitrovic is going to be out. He might be suspended 3+ games. You know, based off of what he did to the ref. So I don't know. I didn't really see his altercation with the ref. I just saw like a brief clip of him shoving him, kind of. So I don't really know what it means, but could be a big impact for them. Some other news from the Premier League. Um, the latest rumor is that Mason Mount will not re-sign with Chelsea in this offseason.
Well, that's not a shock.
What do you think is his best move next? Where would you like him to go?
His stock has really gone down, and
Hmm.
I don't want to say it's made me happy, but it's kind of been where I've been on him for a year and a half. It's like this guy's a good player, but he's not at the level that people are talking about him. Uh, I think a good move for him would be a mid-table team where he can be obviously play every game and be a
Hmm.
factor in their success. So I think a team
Yeah.
like Brighton would be a great fit for him, um,
Hmm.
where they're certainly making money. Did you see that the cost for Graham Potter got released?
No,
How much Brighton got for that? It was like a $20 million transfer or something like that. Yeah,
big money.
they
Send
made
him
so much
back.
money this year. Trossard, I
Yeah.
think that they, I think
Cucurella
he,
at the start of the year.
yeah, he could be a good addition. You know, kind of fit
Hmm.
in there. I think he would work well with McAllister. They got to keep McAllister. They
Yeah.
can't let him
He's so
go.
good.
But I think he would be a
Yeah.
good addition. He's a good player. But I don't think he should be on the top clubs because he's just going to find himself in the position that he's in where it's you're a sub once in a while. And because
Yeah.
he's a good player, he's not a great player.
He's not, yeah, he's not good enough to be all the way up there.
Yeah.
So, It's an age old thing we talk about with a lot of the English players kind of getting overhyped, overblown, and seeing starting on the England team or playing a lot on the England team as 100% always correlating to the Premier League as well, which isn't always the case. So
Yeah, I think
I tend to agree with you.
English players get propped up, not just because obviously English people are biased, but um, I think also when you play on a team with world class players, those world class players are going to make you better. They're going to
Yeah,
put you in positions to succeed more. If
yeah,
you're especially if you're an offensive player and you're getting great service, or people are making people miss and putting you in positions to score, or you make an average pass to someone and he makes the most of it and finishes, like, it makes you look better. And so I think
yeah.
sometimes we get tricked with some of the English players who aren't quite at the world class level but still really good. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that happens a lot with English players.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next bit of news to share with you. So, in a shock move, I think it was on Monday. I don't actually remember what day it was, but Bayern Munich has fired their coach, Julian Nagelsmann, while the team is sitting in second place, down 1 point, and hired Thomas Tuchel to replace him.
Whoa. What?
Big news.
Dang.
I didn't. That's why I was curious if you had heard the news, but
Tuchel.
yeah. So they've brought him in. He's supposed to start training with the team on Monday. I forget what day it was, but basically the team's been on the international break. Nagelsmann was like on vacation with his family skiing or something, and supposedly had no idea this was coming. And the rumor is basically they wanted Tuchel. They thought he was going to get swooped up before the off season when they could make a move that they wanted to. So they decided to just make a shock move now, fire their coach with the team playing well. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
you know, they're right at the top of the table, maybe not in first, but they're not playing bad. So a really surprising move for a really big name. I was really interested to get your take on things with this type of move.
That is very surprising. Very surprising. And I think we
In
both.
the last eight of the Champions League, in second
Yeah.
place in Bundesliga.
They
Yep.
just beat PSG handily. They have Man City on the horizon, which I can't wait to see. But
Yep.
I'm trying to look at their league to see if they've been slipping a little bit. But okay, they lost to
I mean, they're
Leverkusen. I see
I
that.
think they lost two out of the last five, but they're only at like a point behind
They lost
Dortmund,
to
I think.
Mönchengladbach with a red card. Okay, that could be something else. I mean, sounds like there's something else going on, or maybe they just had like an under the table agreement with Tuchel, like, oh, we got to get this guy in here. We love this guy. Like,
Hmm.
oh man, I don't know. I don't like it. I wonder. I mean, we're not in the locker room. We don't know. I wonder if the players agree with this or not. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. There was a little bit of rumors I was reading up that supposedly, but I feel like you always hear this shit, but supposedly there was some tension in the back room between him and the board, and some players had disagreed with his tactical approach, but I feel like it's the same shit you always hear,
Yeah.
just
You can
manufactured bullshit.
you could find any player that's not starting, and you know
Yeah,
he's going to be
that
unhappy.
and then it sounds like the whole team thinks that, and it's like one dude that's a sub, so I don't know. I don't know what to believe and not believe, but either way, it's a really shock move. I guess not totally unexpected with a coach like Tuchel being available. Um, but pretty shocking. I don't know. Name for me any time when a coach of a team in the quarterfinal of the Champions League suddenly gets fired.
I can't think of one.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
I
Yeah,
I
I can't
mean,
think of a time.
no. Maybe if they got booted from the Champions League, but yeah, it's a really bad time if you ask me to change coaching.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it seemed it.
It doesn't bode well for the Man City matchup.
Oh no, it feels like a move for next season, right? For the future,
But
it feels like.
the Champions League is there to
But
be won.
I know that's
Like,
why. But
why
that's
not
what I'm
just
saying. It's
wait?
like,
Wait till the off season. I don't get it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
The only reason I guess is that I mean, if he is being pursued by PSG or Real Madrid or somebody that they thought they would be second fiddle, come the off season, so they're like, we can get you a gig now with a team in this position. Will you come to us? And yeah,
That's
I
dumb.
don't know.
That's dumb. You're
Pretty
Bayern
shock move.
Munich. You're Bayern Munich. You don't do that. They come to you. They're waiting for you. Like, oh, you want to go to PSG? Good luck. You know,
Yeah.
we just knocked you guys
All
out of
right.
the Champions League.
Yeah. All right. My last bit of news just to talk through with you. So a word came out. I think it was yesterday that Mesut Ozil has officially retired from soccer. I think he's only 34, so not too old yet. But he'd been playing in some lower leagues for a while. But I was just curious to hear from you. What do you feel like his legacy is? Obviously played, I think it was like 7 or 8 years at Arsenal. Played with Real Madrid. What do you feel like his lasting legacy is?
Won a World Cup with Germany.
That's right. He was on that team. I forgot.
He's a great
Won a World
player.
Cup with Germany.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
He was a guy who should have shot more and passed it too many times. But that's how I think of him. It's like it's like in the 6 yard backs. Oh, let's lay it off and have him hit it
Yeah.
in. It's like no, just shoot the fucking thing. Um,
Let's lay it off to Jack Wilshere so he can just miss the whole goal.
we made 7 incredible passes to get here. Let's make it 8 more.
let's ruin it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I think about it. But he was a top level player who was fantastic distributor of the ball. I feel like he probably didn't have the longevity that I would have expected for whatever reason. Um, but yeah, I'll think of him as a kind of like an English player that we talked about. Like he's good, not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or great, not world class, whatever you want to say. He's not. He's a tier below that top
Hmm.
tier guy.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
on his day, he could play with the best of them.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I feel like he was one of those guys that was good, but it just like always felt like he hadn't reached his potential. Like it always felt like oh, this guy could be really good. Like he could be he had that next level in him, but it just never arrived,
Yeah,
and it just was kind of downhill, obviously, with everything that happened to Arsenal and then leaving Arsenal. Yeah, I think remember him, like you said, as a good player. Just there'll just be some feeling of like he could have been better. I don't know what it is specifically, but there was something left on the table. It felt like for some of those years, a lot like I feel like a player like James Rodriguez, like it just felt like there was more there, and whether it was because they didn't try as hard as they should have or whatever it is, like it never all came together as perfect as it should. But still a great career. I mean, you can't complain about a career like that.
yeah,
So congrats to you on retiring. I'll drink my beer to you, Mesut.
yeah. And off to retirement he goes. Now he's our age,
Younger than us.
younger than us, probably. Yeah. James Rodriguez too. James Rodriguez is probably like 29 still.
Straight
Oh,
up.
man. All right.
All right.
Well, Torin, that was a smooth hour and a half.
Yeah.
Soccer talk. We'll be back next week with our least favorite 11 and maybe some Euro qualifier updates, highlights, discussions.
Yeah.
But I think that's the
Yeah,
only
it should be
soccer
fun.
going on at the moment.
Yeah, we might check in on the internationals. Maybe some prep for the Premier League coming back that next weekend. But Least favorite 11 will be a fun chat.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm looking
can't
forward
wait.
to it.
I can't wait. I don't have any reserves at the moment, though. I do have
Well,
a
we
coach.
got
I
a
do
week.
have a coach.
We got some more days to work on it. So we'll do our best brainstorming to come up with some people.
All right. Nice. All right, man. Well, I'll
All
talk to you
right.
next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.